You are now listening to the Jay Porks Experience. Listen free on iTunes or at theandydareshow.com. Now, here's Jay!
Yo, what is the word, people? Welcome to another action-packed edition of the Jay Porks Experience. I'm Jay Porks, with me as always on the other side of the glass, making sure this is a well-oiled podcast machine. Every week is nobody. You know, stuff happens. Stuff happens that just makes you think, And that's basically what I do every week. I come here and I say, with you. And we're going to do that again today. We're going to say, I got a couple of things. I'm going to talk about marijuana later. I mean, as usual, that always happens. And I'll give you the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business in a second. But first, I want to talk about one of my favorite children's shows. Because I was talking about it with a couple people last night. I may have mentioned this show on the podcast before, but I've never dedicated a full 7 minutes to it. I don't think I'm going to get 7 minutes out of it, but I'll see what I can do. You guys remember Nickelodeon, right? You guys remember your childhood. We're all 90s kids. 80s kids who grew up in the 90s, whatever. You remember turning on Nickelodeon, watching your favorites. Whether it was, Rugrats, Doug, the weird warp to Ren and Stimpy. Whether it was Rocko's Modern Life. Or you may have been watching Salute Your Shorts. And you may have been watching The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Now, if you were watching The Adventures of Pete and Pete, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, hey, wait a second. Why'd you name both your kids Pete? As cool as the show is, I can never get past why there are two brothers both named Pete with no significance as to which one is which. It's not like one's Petey, one's Peter. They're both Pete. Little Pete and Big Pete. Who names both their kids the same name? Are we going to blame this on the metal plate in Mom's head? She seems smart enough to know that you shouldn't name both your kids Pete. Furthermore, this 11-year-old has a tattoo on his arm. He looks like my uncle who's in and out of prison. That's the example we're setting for America. I loved this fucking show. But just last night I just got to thinking, who names both their kids Pete? But the show is very punk rocky. As right now, Danny Tamborelli, Little Pete, is in a band called Jounce. Oh my God. He's in a band called Jounce. I actually saw Jounce open for the Meat Puppets with Black Box Revelation in Teaneck, New Jersey. We didn't know who it was. We didn't know the kid until we were outside smoking cigarettes. And these kids came running down the block. They're like, oh my God, we just opened up Wikipedia. And oh my God, that's Danny Tamborelli. That's Little Pete from Pete and Pete. I said, shit, I wish you would have told me before his set. Maybe I would have paid more attention. So that was that. So Pete and Pete. So Little Pete is in a band called Jounce. They're not bad. Who remembers Artie, the strongest man in the world? Because I do. That guy was fucking cool. A few more things on Pete and Pete. Do you remember who Principal Ken Schwinger was? The principal of Little Pete's school was Adam West. Yes, that's Mayor Adam West from Quahog. Back in the day, he used to be Batman, but now he's just, you know, Adam West, Mayor of Quahog, Village Idiot. Steve Buscemi plays one of the neighbors. And the list of guest stars: LL Cool J played Mr. Thornberry one day on sick day. Luscious Jackson played the school dance. Where's Michael Stipe? Michael Stipe played Captain Scrummy, an ice cream vendor known for the sludgesicle, for the sludge sickle. That's on What We Did on our Summer Vacation. Sid Straw, she's a math teacher. She's math teacher Miss Fingerwood, but she's also she's a punk rocker, isn't she? Let's look at her. She began her career singing backup for Pat Benatar. Oh, okay. Nothing much. One widely reported guest appearance, Hunter S. Thompson in New Year's Pete, has been described as apocryphal by show creator William McRobb, who said that the Hunter Thompson listed in the credits is instead a similarly named extra. So they named both their kids Pete. The mom has a metal plate in her head. Little Pete has a radio show. Luscious Jackson was on the TV show, and if that's not enough, also coming to a prominent role in season 2 and 3 was Michelle. I can't pronounce the last name. Michelle Trachtenberg, Harriet the Spy. Harriet the Spy. And you know who plays Harriet the Spy's father in this show? What's his name? James Osterberg Jr.? Oh, Iggy Pop. Better known as Iggy Pop. He is also on The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Remember, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, with two brothers with the same name, from a fictional town that looks kind of like Wayne, New Jersey. Looks kind of like Wayne, New Jersey. So before you binge watch, before you go binge watch The Adventures of Pete and Pete again, and by the way, there's only 3 seasons. They're all on YouTube. The episodes are in 2 or 3 parts, so it would take you all of like a day. There can't be more than 30 episodes of this show. It's a fun show. I might watch it again. So sometimes when I run out of ideas of things to talk about, when things aren't new, I'm just gonna go back into my mind, and I'm gonna see what was itching, what do I need to scratch at any point in time, and I'm gonna fill you in on that. And that's what I'm gonna do. I don't care if the Adventures of Pete and Pete went off 15 fucking years ago or whatever it is. And finally, one more thing on the Adventures of Pete and Pete. Polaris, the opening band, Mark McCauley is the lead singer of that band. And yeah. Polaris is a one-off musical project in the mid-1990s involving members of the New Haven rock indie band Miracle Legion. Mark McCauley. He's done other things. Who's he worked with? Actually, there was a tribute album called Ciao My Shining Star. The songs of Mark McCauley was released on September 15, 2009, featuring contributions from Tom York, Frank Black, The National, Dinosaur Jr., Juliana Hatfield, Mercury Rev, David Berkeley, and Frank Turner. The album also serves as a benefit for Macaulay, whose wife Melissa died in 2008. And he reemerged in 2012 with a reunion show with Polaris at Cinefamily's Everything Is Festival 3. Following the performance, a Twitter and Facebook page for Polaris appeared. Macaulay played a 4-date tour in England in early December, including All Tomorrow's Parties Festival. So anyway, if you listen to the wait a minute. It says Mark soon formed Polaris, a house band for the mid-90s alternative television series, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. It's not an alternative television series, it's a television series. Now, not only alternative music, but we're doing alternative television series? Anyway, look up the song Hey Sandy, and I mean, listen to the rest of that album, Songs from The Adventures of Pete and Pete. It's fun times. So, there's me. That's what I did for you. Anyway, I can't believe I went 10 minutes on that. Anyway, let's go to the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business before I have to go to freaking work. First of all, there's Where I Was Born and Bred. There's ConcertConfessions.com. That's for all your live music, news and reviews. For the fans, by the fans. What do we have going on here? Well, you know what you could do? You could check out Kiss and Def Leppard at the Forum in Inglewood. That was back on the 8th. It's never too late to file your confession. So if you go to a show, you get caught up, but you still feel the need to share your experience with the world, please come do so. Come do so at Concert Confessions. And also we had at the Black Hat in Washington, D.C., Veruca fucking Salt, bitch. And that was our chick Slugger Ray was there. And I'm so mad I didn't get to see Veruca Salt in my area, but hashtag server problems is how that went down. So, hence why I could not see them. So you got those two new reviews at ConcertConfessions.com. Also, if you want to just take a scroll down the page, click on an Amazon ad or two, buy some stuff. You're going to buy stuff anyway. Actually, the other day I was on Amazon. I bought myself this cool, because my new Dell Inspiron 15 doesn't have a microphone jack. It's very odd. Now, it has the house microphone, the one on top of the screen, but I want to sound like I'm on fucking NPR, not K-Rock in the 90s with no bandwidth. Not 1050 ESPN radio. So I ordered this USB mic jack so I can record the podcast on my new computer, on my Dell Inspiron 15, as opposed to this MSI U100 bullshit. So of course the fucking thing doesn't work, and I'm another week on this shit computer. So if you guys know what I can do to fix this, first of all, why would my computer not have a microphone jack? I know it comes with a microphone. Why would I want to talk on that microphone? That's like for masturbating on a webcam. That microphone's not for having a conversation. That microphone's not for spreading the gospel that I'm spreading here, the Pete and Pete gospel. It's not about that. That mic isn't about that life. And it never claimed to be about that life. So, you can go on Amazon and try to find that for me. Because I buy the wrong things all the time. So where was I? Concert Confessions? Yeah. Concert Confessions. Come file your confession. There's going to be new stuff coming up. We've got at least three of our Concert Confession family members hitting up the filter helmet local H. And if you're gonna hit that up, and if you're gonna take a picture of Scott Lucas and he doesn't punch you because you use the flash, if you want to, if you don't want them to use your picture on their Facebook page without crediting you, here's a hint of advice. Don't post it to their Facebook page. I'll explain. Yeah, you know what? Fuck explaining. Where am I? I've got the internet! Okay, so what happened was, basically, a photographer posted his picture on local... it didn't even take me long. A photographer posted a picture of local H on his on their Facebook page. Okay, then they used it. They used it and they didn't like say this is who took the picture. So then this guy Jason Miller writes, local H, dudes, that's my photo you were using for your profile pic. Happy to give it to you, but how about a little attribution? And local H responds, want us to take it down? These are the kinds of interactions I don't want to have with my heroes. Do you want us to take it down? Why don't you not be a dick about it? So the guy says, not at all, I'm a huge fan. Happy to send you the original, just would like credit attribution, that's all. And Jason Miller, they say to Jason Miller, if you post a photo of us, we reserve the right to repost it. If we like it. We must have liked it. So then the guy says, local H, totally cool, just need to cite the source of the photo as it's a copyrighted image that has been manipulated. That's the issue. Who, local H says, who gave you the right to manipulate us? And this guy says, I took a photo and wrote a stellar review of your show. Please remove the photo from both Facebook and Twitter immediately. You see, he tried to ask nicely for some credit, and it didn't exactly go down that way. Here's the thing. And then Scott writes a fucking letter to this kid. So I'm going to read you from the words of Scott Lucas. This kid's name's Jason, so it seemed like he's reading to me. Hi, Jason. I applaud your ploy for attention, and it's a shame that it has come to this. But I feel I need to respond here. You took an excellent photo of us, and we reposted it on our Facebook page, but only after you posted it to our page. End of story. We didn't ask you to take a picture of us, and we didn't give you permission to shoot photos of us during our show. Maybe Filter did, but we didn't. Nevertheless, you did it, and we were cool with it. In fact, we understand that in this day and age, nearly everyone in the audience has a camera and is likely to take a picture of us at any time. And we are, by and large, cool with any recording devices at our shows. But if you post that picture on our Facebook page and we like it, we will repost that picture. If anyone wants to find out who took it, all they have to do is click on the image. Simple as that. We have no plans whatsoever to use your photo for personal or monetary gain. If we did, then you would be compensated and credited. We have asked exactly one person to take our picture in the last year, Kate Hovland, and she was credited and paid. You asked for credit, we sent you a couple of tweets that we thought was good-natured ribbing. You didn't see it that way. You contacted our manager and demanded we remove the photo. We already had. We thought that was the end of our story, but now I see you've started a little smear campaign. In the service of what? I know you see yourself as David here, but hey man, we're not Goliath. Of course, you have rights as an artist. But what about our right to choose whether or not we want to be photographed by you? You didn't ask us. We didn't ask you to repost a photo in the matter that we saw it fit to repost it. You asked us to take it down. We did. So now you did this? Who's being the unprofessional here? Signed, Scott Lucas. Damn. Okay. Now, I have tons of issues with things Scott Lucas does, but if you shared your picture on their Facebook page, and then they put it as their cover photo or whatever they did, that's your fault, bro. They didn't go to your Facebook page and say, I can't believe I'm siding with this guy. But they didn't go to it's not like they went to a review, took the picture and put it on their Facebook page. This guy posted it to their Facebook, then when they liked it, demanded credit for it. You gave it to them. See, like if I go see Local H, I'm not posting pictures to their fucking wall, to their timeline. I'm posting the review. The whole show review gets posted there, and I hope that they reshare. Scott is right. He is very cool with recording devices. Damn. But the good-natured ribbing that we thought was good-natured ribbing, nah, man. If Scott Lucas replies to me on Twitter with, "Do you want us to take it down?" I don't think that that's good-natured ribbing. I think that that guy wants to hit me. That's unreal. So that happened in I got that from the Facebook page of music photographers. I am not a music photographer. I'm gonna once be on that asshole side. Scott, you're right. They shouldn't be sharing photos on your Facebook and then wondering why stuff happens. Alright. Let's keep going into the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business. We were at Concert Confessions. We went off on a tangent, but it's Concert Confessions, live music, news, and reviews for fans by fans. Also, Hang the DJ, Christina Rocks 89X every Sunday morning, 8 to noon. I'm happy that I get to listen to her. I'm not happy that that involves me prepping for work, but hey, it happens. And I can't believe I missed People Who Died by the Jim Carroll Band. That song, I love that fucking song, and I'm very mad. I'm very pissed that I got that. Also, Foo Fighters, I'll Stick Around, a little autobiographical Dave Grohl, Dear Courtney Love letter. I love that Dave Grohl will pretend that that song's not about anything. No, it's just random lyrics, bro. Yeah, I don't owe you anything. I'll stick around. Totally random, bro. We don't believe you. You need more people. And this is the 11 a.m. hour. Jack White kicked off with Love Is Blindness. Jack White is now old school alternative. Crazy. And the headlines, of course, are always powered by Annie Quiet. Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs has released Wrapped from her new solo out debut. R-A-P-T. It's either wrapped or raped in the past tense, but I think raped would be with an E-T, E-D. Sidewalks and Skeletons takes on Bitches Brew for the official Crosses remix. An exclusive premiere of a new Crosses remix. Done by the UK's Sidewalks and Skeletons. Tom Petty, Beck, Rodrigo and Gabriella, Jenny Lewis and more will be inside your television this week. Intronaut announced a fall 2004 US tour dates. And there's a storm of psychedelia heading your way this fall as the Meat Puppets and Cass McCombs will co-headline a tour of the fall in the US this coming October. Written by the great wordsmith known as Jay Porks. This fall, the sun-scorched desert rockers known as the Meat Puppets will hit the road for a tour with singer-songwriter Cass McCombs. The dates are advertised as a co-headlining bill and kicks off in the Show Me state of Missouri on October 21st. The 20-day trek takes the bands across both coasts, hitting basically all major markets. Pause. Remember I said basically. The High Noon Saloon in Washington, the High Noon Saloon in Wisconsin, the Empty Bottle in Chicago, and the Met in Rhode Island are just a few of the highlights before spending 2 nights, the first of which being Halloween night at the brand new Rough Trade Records in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. West Coast Never Fear, as Texas and Phoenix dates precede 3 nights in California before the tour closes up at the glorious Doug Fir Lounge in Portland, December 6th. Tickets on sale for a handful of these shows this Friday via Ticketmaster. Check out the dates below. We've got Missouri, Wisconsin, Chicago, Ohio, Philly, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, Brooklyn, the Black Cat in Washington, D.C., where Slugger A just saw Veruca Salt. If she wants to get in, holler at me. North Carolina, Georgia, Fitzgerald's in Houston, the Crescent Ballroom, the Hometown Show in Phoenix. We got the Casbah in San Diego, the Troubadour in LA on December 2nd. I'll bother Reverend Justino to try to get out there. And we got the Independent in San Francisco on December 3rd, Nemo's in Seattle, and then the Doug Fir Lounge. And when all ticketing information is sorted out, you'll be able to find all the dates at the official Meat Puppets website. That's code for when I get all the ticket URLs, I'll be able to add the dates to the website. And hat tip to the Brooklyn Vegan. Now, I don't want to tell anyone how to do their job. But being employed by the band, I would think I would get the dates first. Like, I had to get these dates off Brooklyn Vegan? That's not good for me. Well, I couldn't be blind copied on an email? Like, how did Brooklyn Vegan get the dates? They got it from High Road Touring? Why doesn't High Road Touring hit me up? Why doesn't somebody tell me? I gotta put them on the website. So, I'll be spending Halloween with the Meat Puppet. Back after this.
Hey everybody, it's Andy from the Andy Dare Show here. Just want to say that I am super proud to have the J Porks Experience be part of Dare Network. And if you want to keep my little podcast network completely free, all you got to do is go to theandydareshow.com, look on the right-hand side of the page, and you'll click on the Amazon banners for all your Amazon needs, and you'll tip your cap to the J Porks Experience and all the fine broadcasting here on Dare Network. Also, be sure to follow Jay on Twitter at JPorks, Instagram at JPorks, and jporks.blogspot.com. Thank you so much for listening, and back to the J Porks Experience.
And we're back. Let's talk about something. In the world of sports, Ray Rice, running back for the Baltimore Ravens. You may remember him. I think he went to Rutgers, hometown kid. He was in the news 2 months ago. He was caught on camera in Atlantic City dragging his then fiancée. She's on the floor. He's dragging her out of a club, out of the back door, and he reportedly beat the shit out of her. Reportedly. There's no video of him beating the shit out of her, but that's just what we're assuming. Okay, so that happened. Then the NFL said, "Okay, we're gonna think about this." And they got him and his wife him and the fiance, they got married to dull some of the blow. And then the NFL came out the other day and announced that Ray Rice will be suspended for 2 games. Guy beats up his wife. You can't play football for 2 weeks. I mean, imagine that. Imagine the penalty. Like, Now I'm thinking, damn, man, I better be nice to this broad or I'm not going to be able to play football for 2 weeks. Football. You know, if you get caught smoking weed in the NFL, you get 4 games? So, beating your wife, 2 games. Marijuana, which is legal recreationally in 2 of the states that have NFL teams, 4 games. And that's going to lead me. See, here's the thing about me is that there's a few things I don't want my podcast to be about. Weed ain't one of them. Weed is something that I will be talking about every week. We need to legalize it. It needs to be recreationally legalized. And you know who agrees with me? You know who agrees with me? Not High Times, not The Onion, not Clickhole, but a little known publication known as the New York fucking Times. Okay? The New York Times, the record, as they call it, the official record. If you go to the library and you want to look up what happened on this day, you go back in the New York Times and you go back in the New York Times and they're the fucking official record. Okay? This is by the editorial board at the New York Times, the biggest newspaper in the fucking world. And I will read it right now to you. Even though, and I promise you this, I promise you I will fuck some of this shit up because the New York Times is written for people who have a reading level that is way above any grade I ever finished in life. So, by the editorial board, it took 13 years for the United States to come to its sentence and end prohibition. 13 years in which people kept drinking, otherwise law-abiding citizens became criminals, and crime syndicates arose and flourished. It's been more than 40 years since Congress passed the current ban on marijuana, inflicting great harm on society just to prohibit a substance far less dangerous than alcohol. The federal government should repeal the ban on marijuana. We reached the conclusion after a great deal of discussion among members of the Times editorial board, inspired by a rapidly growing movement among the states to reform marijuana laws. There are no perfect answers to people's legitimate concerns about marijuana use, but neither are there such answers about tobacco or alcohol, and we believe that on every level, health effects, the impact on society and law, and order issues, the balance falls squarely on the side of national legalization that will put decisions on whether to allow recreational and medicinal production and use where it belongs at the state level. Basically, they're calling. I'll pause right here. Basically, they're saying, because here's the thing: in Colorado and in Washington, you can buy weed in the store, but you can't buy it on your credit card because it's actually still against federal law. But federal law trumps state law, but not really. So, New York Times says, let's do it by states. We've considered whether it would be best for Washington to hold back while the states continued experimenting with legalizing medicinal uses of marijuana, reducing penalties, or even simply legalizing all use. Nearly 3/4 of the states have done one of these. But that would leave their citizens vulnerable to the whims of whoever happened to be in the White House and chooses to enforce or not enforce the federal law. The social costs of the marijuana laws are vast. There were 658,000 arrests for marijuana possession in 2012. Let's say that number again. 658,000 arrests for marijuana possession in 2012, according to the FBI. Figures compared with 256,000 for cocaine, heroin, and their derivatives. So coke, heroin, and others combined didn't even get half of what the marijuana possession got arrested, of the amount of people arrested for marijuana possession in 2012. Even worse, the result is racist, falling disappropriately on young black men, ruining their lives and creating new generations of career criminals. Now, I know as a white guy, me calling for non-stereotyping, like, puts more shine on me. I understand that, but again, I'm breaking the law, so treat me equally like a criminal. There is an honest debate among scientists about the health effects of marijuana. but we believe that the evidence is overwhelming that the addiction and dependence are relatively minor problems, especially compared with alcohol and tobacco. Moderate use of marijuana does not appear to pose a risk for otherwise healthy adults. Claims that marijuana is a gateway drug to more dangerous drugs are as fanciful as the reefer madness images of murder, rape, and suicide. Okay. New York Times just took your gateway drug and shot it down. So your gateway drug arguments, void. Why? Because the New York Times, that's why. There are legitimate concerns about marijuana on the development of the adolescent brains. For that reason, we advocate the prohibition of sales to people under 21. See, that's a problem for me because I've been smoking pot since I was 9 years old. So, of course, my brain may not have, may not have fully developed, but that doesn't mean that this shouldn't be legal. Creating systems for regulating manufacture, sale, and marketing will be complex, but those problems are solvable and would have long been dealt with had we as a nation not clung to the decision to make marijuana production and use a federal crime. And in the coming days, the New York Times will publish articles by members of its editorial board and supplementary material that will examine these questions. We invite readers to offer their ideas, and we will report back on their responses, pro and con. We recognize that this Congress is as unlikely to take action on marijuana as it's been on other big issues, but it's long past time to repeal this version of prohibition. The New York, and not, it wasn't like the new reporter who's here to focus on the young audience wrote that we should legalize marijuana. The editorial board came together, said we should legalize it, then said, no, don't worry, we're going to have more articles for you in the coming days with science. New York Times, folks. Again, I understand that I'm breaking the law. But I mean, it would be nice. And people are all over this. They're all over this, I don't want to pay the taxes. You know what then? If you don't want to pay the taxes, if you don't want to pay $9 tax on an eighth, then go to jail. Then enjoy prison. I will pay. I am so American. I am so lazy. Like, I will pay people to do things for me. I don't want to do things myself. Like, for instance, I've got clothes all over my room. Some of them are old, some of them don't fit me anymore, but they're just stacked up in piles all over the room. Am I cleaning it? No. Why? Because, I don't know, a cleaning lady would do it for $50, and I'd rather just do that. Why do work when I could sleep? I'll pay the fucking taxes. I'll say it over and over again. I will pay the taxes. Just let it be legal. What else we got going on? Oh, so Friday. Friday we got ourselves a game day. Friday we have Offspring of Bad Religion and Pennywise at Stone Pony Summer Stage. Me and Pam are in there. Doors open at 6. You're going to hear me talking about how my back hurts from standing on a flat surface. Here's the thing about that show. Did I tell you guys I bought the step stool? I think it was a year ago. I saw this really short girl in the pit taking pictures. Not really short, but short. I'm 5'9", she's shorter than me. And she had this thing tied to her book bag. And it was a little fold-up step stool with 9 inches. So I was shopping on Amazon the other day. I was just shopping around. And I said, hey, let me try to buy this thing. So I did. So On the next podcast, you're going to hear me talk about how I either got that thing in or I didn't get that thing in. Here's hoping I get it in. Isn't that the hope of every Friday night for a guy? Here's hoping I get it in. Definitely is. All right. Let's go down this. Let's go over the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business before I get up out of here. TheAndyDeerShow.com, that's for all your Deer Network podcast needs. Whether that's The Andy Deer Show, whether that's The Tyler Kale Show, whether that's Smooth Operators with Tyler and Andy, or whether that's The J Porks Experience, you can find it all at TheAndyDeerShow.com. Also, remember to click the Amazon ads and buy stuff because you're going to buy stuff anyway. And if you listen to Andy's last episode, I'm the guest, and me and Andy talk the origins of grunge, or, what we think was the origins of grunge. It's fun. It's a fun convo, and you want to listen. Also, go to ConcertConfessions.com. That's where you go for all your live music, news, and reviews for the fans, by the fans. You go to ChristinaRocks.com. You listen to the Time Warp, 89xradio.com, every Sunday morning, 8 to 12. And, of course, you always go to Andy Quiet, your source for quality. Folks, it's been fun. Whiskey, weed, Warren Zima. Later.
This has been the J Porks Experience. Thank you so much for listening.